Hey there, I'm Emily, host of the 3315 Hear the Blessed, the show where we talk about being a young Christian in crazy times. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of the 3315. Last time, I went over what worship is and how to go about it. Now, I'm going to get into what it's not and things people should avoid in their worship. First off, let's do a quick recap of the ways you can worship God: prayer, dancing and singing praises to the Lord, writing prayers to the Lord like the Psalms, fasting, and much more. And the number one way you can get all this wrong is your reason for doing it. Are you doing it to praise the Lord, or are you doing it to draw attention to yourself and show off how holy you think you are? Remember what Jesus says about prayer in Matthew 6, verses 5 through 6. When you pray, don't be like the hypocrites who love to pray publicly on street corners and in the synagogues, when everyone can see them. I tell you the truth, that is all the reward they will ever get. But when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father in private. Then your Father who sees everything will reward you. And in verses 16 through 18 of the same chapter, he has this to say about fasting. And when you fast, don't make it obvious as the hypocrites do, for they try to look miserable and disheveled so people will admire them for their fasting. But when you fast, comb your hair and wash your face. Then no one will notice that you are fasting except your Father who knows what you do in private. And your Father who sees everything will reward you. Notice the pattern here? Don't be like the hypocrites. Just do it in secret, because it only matters at the end of the day that God sees you. Sure, it's nice to show good examples to fellow believers, but at the end of the day, you're not doing it mainly for them. It's not about them. It's about giving praise to God. It's not about giving praise to them. You're not giving praise to fellow believers. If you are, then I might be doing something a bit wrong there. You're giving praise to God. So just do it in private, because whether you do it in public or private, he sees you either way, and that's what should matter. The Pharisees were scholars and teachers of religious law, but most of them were blind to the truths of scriptures and unable to see that Jesus was fulfilling them. They were worried more about status and power and being seen as holy. And they even allowed the temple of the Lord to become a place to conduct business that was not meant for such a holy place. And of course, not all were like that. There was Nicodemus, who came to talk Jesus at night in John chapter 3, Joseph of Arimathea, who was said to be a secret convert alongside Nicodemus, and was the one to provide a tomb for Jesus to be laid in after his crucifixion. Even the Apostle Paul was a Pharisee for a time, but he started out as a prosecutor of Christians, and then look what he became. It is possible to go from doing things the wrong way to the right way. It's just a matter of listening to God and striving to do things the way he says and not our own way. Because when we try to do things our way, we stray off the path that God is leading us down. Remember, God doesn't look at the outside appearance. He looks at the heart of the matter. Just as he says in 1 Samuel verse 16, verse 7, the Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And it's not just with prayer or fasting. It's your actions, your thoughts, whether you're dancing, singing, whatever it is. If you're not doing it to give glory to the Lord, it's just a waste of time. When it comes to worship, you don't need to do it in a special place or time. For example, Jesus went off many times on his own to pray, and it was never said where he went. He just went off to be alone and pray, wherever he could, just be between him and God. Jesus even spent 40 days in the wilderness fasting. That's not to say it's not bad to set aside a time to pray every day or go to church. Those are good habits to build up. I'm just trying to say that you can also do it whenever, wherever. You can pray on your way to work. You can pray in the bathroom, even if that feels a bit silly. You can pray wherever. Fasting, well, I mean, if you're going throughout your day while you're fasting, you're kind of fasting just about wherever you go until your fast is over. Things like that. You can sing along to Christian songs on the radio in your car, or just start playing music in your house. You don't just have to wait until it's time to go to church to do those things. Worship and spending time with God is not just for 1 or 2 days out of the week. It's for every day of the week. And another example I want to bring up is when Paul and Silas were in prison together, but instead of staying silent or weeping in despair and anxiety, they sang praises to the Lord. Okay, so to recap, when it comes to worship, there are many ways to go about it, such as prayer, dancing, singing, fasting, all that good stuff. But if you are doing these things to show off how holy you are, then that's all the reward you will ever get. Maybe it impresses others, but that won't impress God. What matters is that you come to God humbly with a heart that wants to earnestly give glory to Him and Him alone, that you want to spend time with Him. We need to be like what Paul describes in Romans chapter 12 verse 1. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. That is your true and proper worship. God bless you, and thank you for listening. Now, before we go, I just want to ask you if you could just take a second here to pray for the victims of Hurricane Helen. It can be right now or later, but I urge you please to pray for them. If you're like me, you're probably living in an area that's been getting a lot of rain because of the hurricane, but in other states, especially Florida, they've been getting it a lot worse. So please, I urge you, pray for the victims, pray for all the police officers and emergency responders working hard to get people into safer areas. Please pray for them. God bless you all. Have a good rest of your day. Stay safe out there.